Sometimes a book finds you when life asks a hard question, and you're not sure you like the answer. These are the stories that don't try to impress you. They just sit with you, and they tell the truth. I've got two authors I'd like you to meet who explore what love looks like when hope isn't enough, and staying costs more than leaving. It's a story of sacrifice, loss, chosen family, and resilience. Stick around because you'll not only learn more about this book, you'll learn about the writing voyage these authors took to create it.
Welcome to A Book Finds You podcast. This week's guest is Naomi and Rivers. Join us as they share the inspiration behind their book, along with their writing process, routines, and challenges. And now here's your host, best-selling author, Rob Shawless.
Today's guests, Naomi and Rivers, write lesbian romance and women's fiction. They are a wife-writing team who believe in romance, fairy tales, and happily ever after. Their first novel, This, a simple, complex love story, was written over 20 years to maintain their connection during deployments and other assignments. Their second novel, Why Not Us, was released November 2025. They're both retired U.S. military veterans and reside with their two rescue dogs on the East Coast. Congratulations on the book and the dogs. Happy to have you with us and welcome to the show, Naomi and Rivers.
Thank you so much. Good to be here.
Good to have you. And I don't know if you ever heard this. Somebody told me this one time. So they said, when you write a book, you're an author. Well, when you write a second book, you're a writer. So welcome to the club. You actually elevated yourself in November. You didn't even know it. So welcome, writers. Good to have you.
Thank you.
Let's dive right in and talk about my favorite question, which is, how did this second book, how did it find you? Because I always say that we don't find it, it kind of finds us. So how did it find you? Whichever one wants to go first.
The second book found us as a result of maybe some life experiences. I'll say that. The book is about an established couple who step in to help a best friend who's diagnosed with breast cancer, and she has a 9-year-old daughter. In real life, my mom was a breast cancer survivor, had breast cancer twice. I've had other family members who have had cancer, and so unfortunately know that journey pretty well. And that was the story that we wanted to tell, and what that looks like with a couple who hadn't expected to have to step in and kind of stand in the gap and then be concerned about child rearing. They hadn't thought they would, have to do that. A healthcare journey, and then the chosen family that kind of steps in as well to help everybody get to a good ending.
Right. All right. This one goes to you, Rivers. I'm going to start ping-ponging a little bit. Came out in November, so pretty new. That's the kind of book where you'll start hearing from people. So have you started getting an email here, a little connection over there of people that have connected with this particular book?
Absolutely. And partly because it has resonated very strongly. There are some characters that draw out very strong reactions. There's a character, so you may ask, well, gee, where's the father in all of this with the kid, right? That the couple has to care for. And, people have thoughts about the father. People have thoughts about, there's a child psychologist that plays strongly in the book too, have some strong feelings about her. And so have some strong feelings about one of the characters' mothers. And so we have definitely heard. We also, because, when you talk about a breast cancer journey, that's not, you don't think of it, well, gee, I don't necessarily want to read that, but it's really, that's a part of it, but it's also about how people respond to challenges. And so people have let us know that, yeah, you took me there, right? It's very emotional, but you also left me with hope.
Good.
So that's some of the feedback we've received.
Good. And hope. It's weird. I think it's an undervalued word, and I don't know
Mhm.
why, but it's so important. And I just think that sometimes people are afraid to get their hopes up. You hear people go, "Well, I don't want to get my hopes up. I don't want to get
Absolutely.
my hopes up."
That's
What
right.
a shame, you know? So I love a book that talks about that and explores that a little bit because I think our instinct is to be afraid of it a little bit.
That's
And
right.
I heard a quote one time. They said, "There is a penalty for hope." And the penalty for hope is disappointment.
Mm.
But if think about that, we have to accept the fact there may be disappointment as opposed to not hoping at all.
That's
I
right. I
say,
think for the
yeah,
both of us, we tend to toward the positive, and so yeah, towards the hope, and hopeful feelings that things are going to work out.
right. Well, I'm
Yeah,
with you. And occasionally we get disappointed, but that
that's
doesn't
right.
mean we're not going to wake up tomorrow and hope some more.
That's
You
That's
right.
know,
right.
That's
That's
right.
right. That's
that's
right.
the key.
That's
That's right.
right.
That's right.
That's right.
A cancer
Okay.
journey is, I was going to say, a cancer journey is it can be tough, right?
Yeah,
And there may be some disappointments, but at the end, we got to leave folks with hope.
right. Uh, Let me ask you this question. What do you hope lingers with someone after they finish the final page of this book?
That there is value in humanity, there's value in friendship, there's value in community, and at the end of the day, we all want to be in community. We want somebody who's going to care about us, somebody who's going to make us, smile when they come in the room. So yeah, that's what we want. The emotional attachment that comes with reading a good book.
Yeah, perfect. Well, I got to tell you, Rivers, I wouldn't touch that one. I'd leave it right where it is.
I'm going to let it just hang in the
Let it
air.
hang in the air. I was looking, going, better let that one just sit and we'll go to the next one. Good, good. Yeah, well said. All right, let's talk about your writing a little bit. How do you know, and even in this, but some of us were writing fiction, but how do you know when an idea is worth pursuing? So you've got this life experience and you've got this event, and yet that's a, a big leap to now let's write a book and try and capture this. How do you know it's worth pursuing?
Wow, worth pursuing. I think, for us, it's about writing about stories and characters that may not be, may not oversaturate the market, if you will. And so, but they are people, they are our friends and our family, and we see them every day. And so we like to bring a sort of humanity and humanness to our characters, and even the places we talk about, they become characters, if you will. So, both of our books are set in Baltimore, and we've been told that Baltimore also feels like a character in the book. And so that's important for us. And so we want to show humanity. We want to show the kindness and goodness of people, and the fact that we can have fun, we can deal with hard things, and yet we can still come together as community,
Right.
as Naomi said. So
Yeah. As a fellow Marylander, I'm glad that you sweetened up Baltimore a little bit. I think Baltimore gets beat up a little. I was raised, I don't live in Baltimore. I tell people there's the state of Maryland and the state of Baltimore. I mean, they really, it's like all the rest of us and Baltimore. We don't talk like Baltimore people. Just and so I was raised at a young age, like, yeah, stay out of Baltimore. You don't want to go to
mm,
Baltimore.
mm.
Baltimore. I wasn't a Colts fan. I was a Redskin fan at the time. Get away from Baltimore. And as I've gotten older, and my dad passed away because he really had a thing about Baltimore, I realized Baltimore's is I don't know if we use the word sweet, but Baltimore is I just think they get a bad rap a little bit.
That's right.
Currently, particularly now, right about now, we'll
That's right.
try and stay out of the
That's right.
politics of things, but hasn't. And so I'm glad that we were shining a light on Baltimore myself.
Well, and I didn't, Naomi grew up in Baltimore. I did not. And so I am an interloper, but I see Baltimore from a from a I don't know, from the 37,000 foot level, in the goodness, to your point, to the sweetness of it. I mean, every place has its foibles, and Baltimore is no different. But once you get to, just like anywhere, you get to know the people, the places to go, the places to eat, and it's a great place to live.
Right. And there is no accent like it. I claim I can do just about any accent that you ask me to do, except Baltimore. I got Hun down, but that's about it. All right, let's talk about the writing routine a little bit. My goodness, 20 years on the first one, right? Did I get that right? It
That's
took a
right.
while to get the first one going, but I
Over
think
20 years,
That's
but
right.
yes,
That's
yeah.
but
right.
yes.
That's right.
Yeah. We picked up the pace on the second one a little bit. So let's stay on the second one. Do you follow a writing routine? And just so you know, one of the reasons why I kind of crawl into the writing routines of authors is we're here to not just hear your story, but to inspire others to find the joy that we found in pursuing and achieving this goal. So that's why I like to unmask certain things. So let's get at that writing routine. Tell me about your process of writing.
For the second book, I wrote the majority of it. Looked at it from a number of different angles, got the words on the paper, and then shifted it and presented it to Rivers to kind of do her thing with it before listening to it again together and then sending it off to the editor. The first one though, um, it was a back and forth
Right.
over 20 years. And again, military vets, multiple deployments, life kind of got in the way a little bit. And so she'd write a chapter, send it to me, I write a chapter, send it back. And so, the story is told in parallel, both the first book and the second book. And so our writing process, in talking to other writers and other friends, is probably a little bit different because it is two of us.
Right.
But in order to make it work for us, it's easier for it to go back and forth.
But Naomi is a bit more disciplined in terms of sitting down, when she was getting the words on the page, sitting down on a routine, like daily, if not every other day basis. I'm not so much. Things start calling me when it's time to actually sit down and write. The
Yeah.
dishes need to be washed, the laundry needs to be done, all those other things. But however, I have a really good friend who has a platform in the UK, and she tried to. It's called Novi, and it's a organization that tries to get not tries an organization focused on increasing the number of women leaders and getting women comfortable in leading. Anyway, point is, Griselda's like, listen, I'm going to help you. I am going to dedicate time every day for you to write. And so that was very helpful for me. And just being more disciplined, which is very interesting because I am very, anyway, kind of meticulous in things, but in just making the time to do it. And we didn't do it. It wasn't every day. It was 3 times a week. Yeah.
Right. Right.
But I do, for me, it's helpful for me to have that little extra motivation.
Yeah. Well, you're actually very lucky, the two of you, because for most writers, we can't be two people at once. And so we hope maybe that someone peripherally is giving us a nudge or whatever, but that's why so many manuscripts never see the light of day because we're only writing in one direction. I always wanted to write a book called Not Only Do Opposites Attract, They Must Attract, because every
Yeah.
relationship I've ever met that was successful.
Hmm.
They didn't have, I'm a guy who will, at one point in my life, maybe still to this day, come to a party. I might be on the coffee table. Okay. Holding court. That's me. But I was never going to date a woman that was bumping me off the coffee table to tell her story. No, that's
Yes.
my place.
Yes.
Right,
Right.
right, right.
And so we make each other stronger in a certain way. I
That's
may
right.
be extroverted. We might have somebody introverted. I might be disciplined. I might like to just kind of go with my gut. Each that makes the other better.
That's right.
So as writers, what a perfect combination. It would be a shame that we have the exact writing style. Ooh, Well
Oh
then,
no.
Exactly.
Oh no, no.
Exactly. Yeah, we absolutely do not. Which, and back to her point, like she gets the words on the page, and I like to say I put some sauce on it.
there you
So
go.
we have it. Yeah, we each see things a bit different, and especially from our also our professional backgrounds kind of add to that. But even though and we know writing as a solitary kind of effort, and it is that when you're actually trying to get it on the page. However, it becomes a team sport when we're listening to it together. We're incorporating the editor's comments and things like that. We are in the room together and kind of working it out and going, hey, that character wouldn't say things like that, or hey, that character would do these kinds of things. So at the end of the day, we don't know which part the other has written for the most part because it becomes this mashup of a collaborative effort.
When we
Wow.
do it well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to, Naomi, you're not going to like what I'm about to say, but I saw a cooking show one time, and they were my wife and I don't watch a whole lot of shows together, but this one we can do. And there was a guest chef, and he tasted this chicken. He said the chicken is perfect. He says the protein is the hero of the meal. You couldn't have cooked it better, but your sauce is off, and 75% of the meal is the sauce. Now, now I'll make it 50-50 so we have harmony in this.
Yes,
But,
yes.
but I tell you what, there's a lot of value to that sauce.
Oh, yeah,
And
absolutely.
Rob, she will agree with you about the sauce. She does most of the brilliant cooking between us, and she will tell you that yes, it's the
We must
sauce.
we
So
must have sauce. So it's
she
funny that
agrees
you
with
gave.
she agrees with
That's
you.
right. You gave us that example. It
right,
is the sauce. All
right.
right.
As a presenter, I work on when I train speakers. A lot of times I'm telling them, you have the protein. That's your content. My job is to spice it up a little bit, put some
That's right.
sauce on it,
That's right.
flavor this meal a little bit.
That's right.
So
That's
between
right.
that should be your new pen names, the protein in the sauce or
The
something, but
Protein
protein
in
and
the
the
sauce has
sauce.
sauce.
got to be in there somewhere.
I'm gonna get a little name tag.
There you
I'm the
go.
protein.
I still remember that.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh,
You're right. And you need both.
you
You need both.
absolutely need both. If I don't have any protein,
That's
I
right.
don't have a meal.
That's right.
But but I think we're in agreement that boy, it sure is nice when we got both elements of this meal working properly. So
Yes.
that's
Absolutely.
not lost on me.
Yes.
uh, okay, how about let's jump on the publishing side of this a little bit. What was your path to publishing? Because that's a mystery for a lot of people. And we got indies, we got conventional, we got hybrids, we got self, all sorts of different publishing opportunities. What was your path?
We ultimately chose self-publishing, and the reason we did it for both the first and the second book. The first book took us so long, right? It took us over 20 years, and by the time we went through the editing process and then thought about, well, gosh, how are we going to actually bring this manuscript to market? Some of the stories, and again, we had friends, author friends, successful author friends, who kind of gave us their interpretation of what publishing looked like for them. Some were traditionally published, some were self-published, some combination thereof. But I think what we discovered was that after 20 years, we didn't really want to go through the gatekeepers, so to speak. We wanted to make sure that our story got out there. And so when we did the math that a traditional publisher could hold your manuscript up 16 weeks or
Months.
less, then I thought, yeah, no, because that could be a whole year and it was still no.
Right.
And again, we had other friends that were successful. We kind of picked their brains and we did it. And we did really well
Yeah.
with the first one. And then so by the time the second one got here, we were like, okay, we know what to do. The difference for the second one was that we did hire a publicist to kind of help us
That's right
open
where I
up
was going. Good for
to
you
open up a
too.
few doors. And she was wonderful. Sherry Woods was really helpful for just trying to make sure that, we did talk to the bookstores, we did talk to other avenues and other opportunities to get our books out there.
Yeah. Well said. Uh, and I go conventional with most of my books, but I want to tell you, every time I have a book, it costs me more money with a conventional publisher each time.
Oh,
Because now the conventionals, a lot of them are saying, well, yeah, we'll publish that book. We want you to buy 1,000 of them out of the gate. We're going to give you a nice price on it, but we also want you to contribute here and here. You can be $10,000 of your own money with a conventional publisher now. Okay.
Wow.
So I'm always telling authors, I don't know what the budget is, but protect your budget. And if I'm going to put $1 into it, I'm going to a publicist. We don't just wind up in the USA Today because somebody liked us. A
That's right.
publicist has a connection, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the connections
Yes.
that are helpful. And and of course, uh, Rivers is a graphic designer, so we had that covered. The formatting was, was her thing to do. And so with the publicist, it was money well spent. Publicist and the editor, money well
Right.
spent.
Yes.
Right.
Well spent and well spent.
Yes.
Right. And you can there's so many hybrid situations, not necessarily a hybrid publisher that you can, it's like a dining tray. You can put foreign rights, whatever you want on the tray. It will cost you. But when you're all said and done, it still may cost you less than going conventional publisher with every single thing that the conventional publisher was about to do on that tray, but a year earlier. When you said 16 weeks, I thought you meant 16 months because if they accept it, it can be well over a year
That's
before
right.
we
Because you
get
have
to
to
the
fit into their
door.
schedule.
That's right.
Right. So I'm not beating up conventional
No,
publishers,
no, no, absolutely
but I'm
not.
saying that you had me at publicist. See, you got to fight for that book. Uh, the conventional publisher will kind of fight for the book, and some of them are better than others. So again, this is not to beat up conventional, but some of them they're fighting for the book as well. I got a PR person that's 1 year out of college that's grabbing a different book each week. We're sending out 150 to a mailing list that's somewhat intact. We're getting 4 responses, 2 hits, and that's our push.
Yes.
So I'd rather have my own publicist do it. And I know it's going to cost me, but then again, I'm saving on this end. So yeah, this is why we talk about it. There's a puzzle to be played. I loved your answer because what I don't want to do is go self-publisher and then not do anything to push the book. It'll never
Absolutely
get
not.
found.
As much as we think our personalities are very pleasing and people are going to buy into
I'll be
us,
the
we
judge
get
of
that.
that. Yeah.
However, people need to know about it, right? And so it's not going to sell it. The books aren't going to sell themselves. And
Right.
so why not tap into somebody that has that expertise? And so back to Naomi's point about when the book, yes, is about community, but for us, building community as authors is just as important as well, because like we just probably, well, I just learned some information about the more and more traditionally published authors and what you're having to like the upfront. That I'm like, oh my God, that's a lot. But talking to people, learning from others, hey, how did you do this? And what was your experience with this has been extraordinarily helpful for us.
Yeah. And that's the idea of the conversation here. I'll give you another one, which might be very painfully easy to understand, but it took me a book to figure it out. Because the first book I remember really kind of fighting for the advance. Hey, I'm going to get an advance. Yay for my advance. And I actually negotiated it up a little bit because I know what I'm doing. I had no idea that it's meant, no, that's your money that we're going to give you because back in 1930, most people were going to write a book in some cabin in the woods and
That's
actually
right.
needed food and to finish the book.
Yes.
That's not the society we live in. So even the misnomer of but I get an advance if I go conventional. No, you just get your royalties held back until every penny of their money is paid back to them. I sometimes tell authors, why not look at the publisher and say, I'll make a deal with you. You keep the advance. I want none of it. And why don't we split every penny I put in to publish the book, you put in for a publicist, which means basically use your money, not mine
That's right.
to
That's
help me
right.
with this book.
That's
So
right.
yeah, there's really a shroud of mystery, and this isn't 1995 when self-publishing first came out. It really was kind of very bare bones. You're on your own, almost a vanity type book.
Yes.
They have come a long way,
Okay.
including the ability for you to modify and edit and fix certain things up, which you would not be able to do. Okay, so we debated that enough, but I love the fact that you've gone the right route, which is I don't care what the publisher is. I care about the push because it's like our
Yes,
children. I can't guarantee it, but I want to give them the best life I can. Right.
that's right.
And then
That's
they go
right.
out and they
That's
live their
right.
life and we'll
That's a
see
good
what
way to put
happens.
it.
Right. So
That's a
that's
good.
what you're doing with a publicist.
Yes, yes.
Good. Good. How about the challenging parts for you two? What was the most challenging part of the writing process?
I and I think I heard your previous guest say this, just writing, like to just do it. Like for the third book that we
Oh, we got
that
another
is an
one.
idea. It's more than an idea.
Breaking news
But
story here.
as
Yeah.
Naomi wrote the vast majority, the vast majority of the words, right, in the second book. And I said, okay, I'm going to do the third one and then do it in reverse. But again, we just talked about Naomi's more disciplined and actually the writing piece. And so, so, um, I must do better. But point is that I don't. Naomi can share her challenge. That's a challenge for
Right.
me.
Okay.
Just sitting down and doing it, which
Right.
is the accountability, as I mentioned from a friend previously, was very helpful. So
Right. Well, and what people can't see, because it's a podcast, so I'm going to tell you what I see, which is Naomi looking over there with an eyebrow up in the air. And so I just want everybody to be aware that their work, this is evolving still. But again, it's nice to have a partner like that that's giving you a
yes,
push on the discipline side. It's the complete opposite in my family here. I was raised by a Marine, and so a very disciplined environment. And so I'm very comfortable with discipline. When a client says, you can send that anytime next month, it's like, no, no, no. I need by when, because
that's
that's
right.
the way my
That's
mind
right.
works. My wife is an artist, completely different, very freelancing. That's what makes us a great partnership. And occasionally she needs me to land in there and really push her a little bit and go, You're going to need the discipline side. And sometimes I need the other side to go, we don't have to do this by then because I'm
Yes.
almost uncomfortable when there isn't a discipline element to it, Naomi.
And you know what though, and Rob, I am very obviously I did 26 years in the Navy. I am very comfortable with discipline in certain things about
Right,
discipline. It's
right.
the writing, it's the city, it's that piece that
But if I
Yeah.
told you, remember, there's two ways to define the word discipline. We both know the other one, okay? You will have, I still, when I go to and see HOV lanes, I hear in my head, hoof, because that's the way my dad used to say the word move, okay? It was HOV, hoof, okay?
Mhm.
So I got that discipline. I'm referring to this part, and I think we're on the same page here, but of really trying to process and get things done that way and measure what we're doing. So I would look at
Yes.
you, Rivers, and I would say maybe from a writing standpoint, a disciplined move from my side, maybe Naomi's too, would be 500 words a week,
Mm,
you know?
yes.
Not
Yes.
400. You want to give me 800, you got a head start for next week because that's the way we discipline people to work things out.
That's right.
We're
That's
actually
right.
nervous about the following week, so we start banking those words. But that's what I mean. And so
Yes.
sometimes you can do it in a day, and sometimes Sunday night's not as fun as you thought it was going to be. But by golly, Monday morning, we got 500 more, you know?
Mhm.
That's what we're referring
Point
to.
taken, Rob.
Yeah.
Yes. No,
Okay.
you're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, last question for you, and I want each one of you to respond to this one. We've got people listening, and I always like to finish with kind of one last push. Somebody listening right now, somebody maybe who's got an idea, maybe doesn't quite have that discipline, or has the discipline, but isn't as freed up as they want to be to really explore. What would be one thing you would tell somebody who's sitting on the sidelines, thinking about it, want it real badly, but just can't get that first word going? What would you tell them? And either one of you can start with that one.
I would tell them to get in the community. There are so many communities, whether it's Maryland writers, they have wonderful classes, wonderful webinars, Shut Up and Write. is another one. I participate in a Facebook group. We call ourselves the 55 Sprinters. And, we chat for a few minutes and we write for 55 minutes and then we're done. And that's one of the ways to get in community, get around people who are talking about writing, who are doing the writing, and then you start writing.
Yeah, I love that. There's an accountability to it, right? Because if you don't mind me, I know I didn't ask me the question, but I don't talk about this enough. An accountability partner is so important. And a lot of times it's a very solitary thing we're doing. Rivers, what would you add to this?
I think Naomi hit the nail on the head, to just start, and don't think about it's gonna win some big prize, it's gonna be a New York Times bestseller and so forth. And so get the words on the page. They may not be eloquent, they may not be what ultimately gets published, it may never get published. Get the words on the page. And then hire an editor. But the first thing is to get it on the page, and be disciplined enough to do that in a routine sort of way. So I'm talking to myself.
I know.
I am motivating, Rob. I am motivating myself.
Good. I saw that. It's going to hold a mirror up while you were talking.
Right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. But just it's I don't know, at the risk of sounding like a Nike commercial, just do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Something else in Rivers that's working for you is that many people are and this is the trainer in me, or what we call unconsciously incompetent. They don't know that they don't know.
Yes.
That's not where you are. You are conscious of the fact that this is something, so that makes it so much easier to work on. We know many people are in denial, this and that. It's like, we're never going to be able to solve it until you can look in the mirror and go, I know this is an issue and I'm committed to trying to address it. That's 90% of the ball game. It really is. So good on you. I also, if you ever want to see it, send me an email, rob@jollis.com. I have a little poem I don't even know if it's a poem, but and I can't do it in its entirety, but it basically says, thinking about writing is not writing. Planning to write is not writing. Researching about writing is not writing. And about 4 more. And it ends with, writing is writing. And so I worry about people that sometimes keep editing and churning. I like what you had to say was just write it. Keep moving forward. That's what a copy editor's for. Rob, you told that story 3 times. Good. Let's figure out the best place to put it. But you ever seen a racehorse with I don't know what they call them, those things?
The blinders.
The blinders. Just straightforward. Just send me down the track and let's go. And then I'll clean it up.
That's right.
All right. Well, we're on the same page.
Well, if we have time, quick story in terms of, we were living in Chicago and we went to this event, and there was a guy there that was, he wasn't a publisher. I don't remember what he was. But anyway, Naomi talked to him and he goes, well, is the manuscript done? And she goes, no. He goes, well, finish the book. And it was like, duh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I was asking about marketing. I was asking about where to get books placed and blah, blah, blah. And he was like, finish the book.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and that's what we would say to people.
Yeah.
Finish
the book. And here's what I also want you to say to people when they go, I'm almost done, but I've got another book that I've been playing. No, that would be me again at the party. No, I don't want to hear about another book.
That's right.
I don't want it out. I don't want you getting near it. That's a shiny penny in the corner that you want to run and go pick up. Leave it alone. Finish this book. And I'm not in love with it anymore. Finish it. That's part of what we do. How do people get a hold of you too?
Naomi at NaomiRiversBooks.com. Also NaomiRiversBooks.com. And all the socials generally at Naomi Rivers Books.
Perfect. Okay. And we'll have that up on the website as well. Been an absolute treat. I always love the energy of having 2 authors in. That brings my energy up as well. So thank you for making this very easy for me. Just a pleasure meeting you 2. I wish you nothing but success. I think you guys are 2 very smart authors who just finished a 2nd book. You sound like veterans. And I think part of that is that you complement each other skill-wise. Just well said. But a joy having you on. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You You bet. Well, we'll do it again as well as we can next time, everybody. Until then, stay safe.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's guest author, we'd love you to rate, review, and share this episode with others. If you'd like more information on today's guest or the Maryland Writers Association, please visit our website at marylandwriters.org. You can also hear a brief history of the Maryland Writers Association by listening to episode 0.